Welcome back to Road Test Weekend. Bob Wischusen and Bob Davie, Samantha Steele at the Rose Bowl. Rick Neuheisel's UCLA Bruins behind by 18. Texas on top. And Coach Davie, what has to happen in the second half for UCLA to mount the comeback?
Well, there's some locker room alerts going on for UCLA. First of all, just schematically, number one thing is they have to find a way to block this linebacker pressure from Texas on passing downs. Probably four times in the first half on passing downs, Manny Diaz came with the double inside linebacker pressure. You're going to see it again right here. They have to address some individual performance issues with the interceptions, but schematically, this linebacker pressure has caused UCLA nightmares in the first half. You know they're going to have to throw it in the second half, so you get on that blackboard right away if you're Rick Neuheisel. What's our answer?
You think that's the first thing they talked about when they went in the locker room?
I don't think there's any question. I mean, it's obvious they can't throw interceptions. It's obvious they can't make the silly mistakes with penalties, but schematically, you have to say, okay, how are we going to handle this and what's our answer? Because Manny Diaz is going to wear you out if you don't handle that.
Josh Smith, the Colorado transfer, brings it out. Breaks a tackle. Finds a cutback lane. And goes down at the 24-yard line. Now, for Mack Brown's team, a couple of times in the first half, as well as they played and as much as they made impact plays on defense, they did allow UCLA to flip the momentum a bit. What do you think he told his team?
I think you have to be able to handle Coleman, the running game, first. I mean, UCLA's still in a position here where they can pretty much stay unbalanced on offense. Coleman came in and gave them a spark in the running game. But I think the biggest thing for Mack Brown with all these young players, convince them that this game is far from over now.
Breho on a keeper. Picks up about 3 yards, and Samantha spoke with Coach Brown. Samantha?
Yeah, you guys must have been listening in on our conversation, because that's pretty much exactly what Mack Brown just said. He was upset about that last field goal because it switched the momentum going in UCLA's direction. The other issue was the long kickoff return, because he said even though it got called back, it exposed some areas in that on special teams. And the other issue is that complacency cannot set in. They have to remember, in his words, that they kicked their rear ends last year, guys.
That's a very good point, and I think that builds off of your point, Coach, of making sure that a young football team doesn't take an 18-point lead for granted in the second half, as Breho looks to go up top. Down the sideline, he's got 4 yards. Inside the 40-yard line of Texas and out of bounds at the Horns' 33-yard line. Check that, Jordan James on a little wheel route down the sideline, and there is a big play, the first big one for the UCLA offense.
Yeah, you're going to watch the back come out of here on a circle route down the sideline. Texas is going to turn him loose. The corner sucks inside a little bit right there, and that's a big play on third down. Momentum for UCLA now right out of that locker room.
A gain of 40 as the Bruins in business. Jonathan Franklin fights his way for a yard.
You go back to Samantha's point about what does Mack Brown say at halftime. I think as a head coach going in there, you have to be really careful not to go in there and say, congratulate guys on how well we've played. Hey, everything's going good. Everything's going according to plan. I'm not sure you don't go in there and pitch a fit a little bit if you're Mack Brown and only talk about the negative things that happened in the first half, because you're trying to create that mindset. It wasn't nearly as good as what you think it was in the first half. You didn't play nearly as good. So don't start pounding yourself on the chest. You know, particularly with a young team, that's the kind of message you have to drive home.
Design rollout for Breho. And he has to throw it away. So it will be 3rd down and 9 for UCLA after we...
I think what you see right there is one of Rick Neuheisel's answers to the linebacker blitz. Even though they didn't blitz right there, they were anticipating. Watch this whole line just try to slide, and the quarterback trying to sprint out away from the blitz a little bit, or anticipated blitz. See right there, Bob, they moved that pocket a little bit, anticipating that middle linebacker right up the gut blitz. Let's see right now if Manny Diaz comes back with it. Just look right up the gut with these linebackers coming.
Here comes the blitz on 3rd and 9. And a drop. A nice out thrown by Breho. And Anthony Barr couldn't hold on as we take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. And this, after the 40-yard gain, a tough end of the drive for UCLA.
Yeah, you can put all the numbers up there. It's almost irrelevant when you have Prince with the 3 interceptions. And then McCoy, 28 plays. He was the difference offensively, I thought. Here's another long field goal attempt, 49 yards for our punter, Locke.
Jeff Locke filling in for Kip Smith. And again, he's got it online.
Wow.
No doubt about it. 50-yard field goal before halftime for Jeff Locke, and he tacks on a 49-yarder to start here in the third quarter.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Road test weekend, UCLA trying to draw closer to Texas, down by 15 now, 12.5 minutes to go in the third quarter as UCLA takes the ball to start the third quarter, and they get 3. Jeff Locke good from 51 right before halftime and 49 a moment ago, and he's the punter.
Yeah, and I talked to Jeff Locke before the game down on the field. He had labrum surgery on his hip in January. So he's back off that injury, but boy, really a strong leg.
Marquise Goodwin from the 7. He's got another gear if he breaks out of the pack. Kept it alive for a while and eventually got out to about the 29-yard line before he stepped out of bounds. But UCLA kept him penned in, so 12.5 minutes to go in the third quarter, and now it's back to the offense for what was, for the most part, a mistake-free first half for Texas, and that's with Case McCoy and David Ash, 2 quarterbacks that combined coming into today for 0 career starts. But McCoy very efficient the first half.
And that 0 interception right there, as you said, probably the most impressive statistic.
Malcolm Brown starts the second half right up the middle, close to a first down. Dietrich Riley on the stop, a gain of 9 yards for Malcolm Brown.
Yeah, just back to simple I formation ball, and it looks like you found yourself an I tailback in this freshman. Missed 10 days of practice in training camp with a hamstring, set him back, but he is on pace now to become what everybody at Texas thought he was going to become.
He's got a first down carry. As a head coach, when you're in a game like this, the opposition scored a couple times to take a little bit of momentum back, but you're still in a position where it might be more about managing the game. How much more comfortable would you be if you just had a few more seniors out there to play that way?
In some ways, though, it forces you just to focus on yourself. You don't worry about UCLA much. You're just worried about your own execution if you're Texas. So it does cause you to just focus.
Ozzie Whitaker took the handoff from David Ash on the quick quarterback change for Texas, and it looks like Case McCoy is set to come right back in on 2nd down and long.
But you see how difficult, Brian Harsin comes from Boise State. I mean, Boise State in that system forever. So he kind of inherited that system as the offensive coordinator in recent years. Comes here to Texas, and now he has to implement the system at Texas, but you don't really have the quarterback to be Boise State. So you see them doing so many different things scheme-wise. Don't really have a true identity just yet. They're trying to form their identity.
Another terrific run by Malcolm Brown, a patient run as he let his blockers pave the way. Donovan Carter on the stop, a gain of 8. 3rd down and 1 right from midfield.
That was a well-designed little play. David Snow, the left guard, excellent block wrapping around.
Here's a big play. Can UCLA get a midfield stop on 3rd down and 1? And it looks like Texas will go with the jumbo group. That's Cody Johnson in as the tailback. Play action. They'll put it up top. McCoy, a jump ball, tipped around and caught. Mike Davis ends up with the deflected reception at the 5-yard line. Sheldon Price was there for what looked like an interception, and instead it's a 45-yard gain for Texas.
Sheldon Price had the interception. Goes up, does an excellent job of playing the ball at its highest point right here. Just bounces off his hands. And not only does it just bounce off his hands, it bounces into the hands of Mike Davis. But that was a well played by Sheldon Price. Just didn't make the interception.
1st and goal, Texas at the 5. They flip it to Jackson Shipley. He'll throw it into the end zone, and the trick play works. DJ Grant there again for the Texas touchdown.
Well, Boise State's alive and well in Austin, Texas, huh? You always associate these kind of plays with Boise State. Think about it. 3rd down and 1. Go with the play action. Show a lot of confidence in your quarterback. You come back on 1st and 10 and throw the reverse pass with Jackson Shipley, a true freshman, throwing it. That's not playing it close to the vest with this young offense. Brian Harsin letting it rip a little bit.
And still in all, if I'm a UCLA fan or if I'm Rick Neuheisel, I'm saying to myself, you have to be kidding me, because just before the trick play touchdown, this should have been an interception. Sheldon Price has to come up with that football, and instead it turns into a little Boise State trickery for the Longhorns at a 35-13 lead.
College football on ABC, brought to you by Pacific Life. For insurance, annuities, and investments, choose Pacific Life, the power to help you succeed. And Hotels.com. Be smart. Book smart.
Might have noticed some burnt orange in the background. Some Texas fans made a stop at the Ronald Reagan Presidential Library and Museum. One of the most popular attractions, the Air Force One exhibit. And they also have the identical replica of the Oval Office as well. And that's Reagan's 100th birthday commemorative coin that's been made. And next week, every NFL game will use it for the coin toss. 35-13, Texas on top.
A great trip for these Texas fans. Get out of that heat. Come out here, visit a beautiful part of the country, and watch some young, explosive playmakers.
And a game that could have turned back towards UCLA a moment ago on the dead run. Josh Smith makes a move to the outside. He's a terrific return man and sets UCLA up with great field position. But a moment ago, Sheldon Price had a chance to possibly turn the game back towards UCLA. Now, he came up with his first career interception in the win over San Jose State last week. And Joe Tracy, the defensive coordinator, when talking about Sheldon Price yesterday, that pick set up the run by Coleman for the touchdown. He told us not only does he have all the tools, but I told him last week, all it takes is one. You get that first one, and the floodgates open, and who knows how many more picks you might get. Well, he has an opportunity to make exactly that play at the 5-yard line. He can't do it. Brijo on the scramble picks up only a yard. As that ball's in the air, if I'm Joe Tracy, I'm probably thinking exactly what I talked about. This kid's going to get a chance to make another big play, and it goes through his hands, and one play later, Texas is in the end zone.
Yeah, because the interception against San Jose was much more difficult, but that's why it's such a great game. You just do not know. You cannot take anything for granted. But, you know, if you're UCLA, Rick Neuheisel, you hate to even think about this, but you start to feel a little bit snake bit. They had Case McCoy backed up in the end of the first half. He scrambles out. You had that situation right there where the ball bounces off your defensive back's hands.
Brijo off a play-action fake to the sideline. And that's a completion to Shaq Evans. His first catch is good for a first down.
Brijo, excellent arm strength. You see right here off the play action fake. I mean, he really throws that football over there on the sideline. That's a big completion. You really feel like UCLA can move the ball. I don't think there's any question about that.
It's hard to say in a 35-13 game that UCLA is not being dominated, but it really has been self-inflicted wounds. The number of times in this game that they've either made a mistake or had a chance to make the momentum-changing play, just like the Price failed pick and haven't made it. In the middle goes Jonathan Franklin. A pickup of 4, maybe 5, and the chase for the sprint cup begins with